Hey everybody, my name is Alex with Hake Hardware, and in this video we are going to go over how to get a node running in Linux using the CLI method. So one quick note, this video was created when the current version is Gemini, or the current chain is Gemini 3H. Mainnet is coming up. If you click the link to this wiki in the description of the video, the wiki is most likely going to be updated with the latest changes. However, the video might be a little outdated if it's been a while since it was released. And one good thing to always do is check out the official wiki for system requirements. We'll go ahead and click that, and you can see for the advanced CLI, you need at least Ubuntu 22.04. That is the minimum version supported. And for hardware, you're going to want at least 4 cores, 8 gigabytes of RAM, and 100 gigabytes of node storage. And that node storage can be located on your host operating system drive, or if you have another drive that, as long as it's an SSD, wherever that drive is, it should work just fine. But the recommended is to have 256, 16 gigabytes of RAM, and an i7 6700 or better. All right, so one last thing is network consideration. A node and even just like a farm and running Autonomous in general, it does use a lot of data. So if your ISP has limits, you may run into some trouble with those. So keep that in mind. As for internet speeds, I don't think that anyone has like a minimum speed, but I would imagine you need at least like 100 megabits per second. So that's like 10 megabytes per second for your internet speed. But I don't think there's anything that's like hard and fast as far as exactly how quick your internet needs to be. Okay, so with the system requirements out of the way, one more note, you need to do port forwarding. So you need to forward your ports on your router, and I'm not going to go over the specific instructions for that because each router is different. So my suggestion is typically to take your model number for your router, Google it, and include the term port forward. And there should be a bunch of different resources available for you to learn how to do that. And there is a website called uGetSignal. You can go there and you can enter in the different ports. These are the 2 ports that you're supposed to be forwarding, and that will tell you whether those ports are correctly forwarded or not. Okay, so this guide is going to be linked in the description of the video, and I'm going to move over to the terminal now, and we're going to go through the steps to set up an autonomous node. So let's jump to Termius, and we're going to be in Bob here, and some of the commands I might paste in if they're longer, but for the most part, I'll try and type the commands in. And the first section here, we're going to talk about organization. So when I'm running the advanced CLI, I like to create a directory called Autonomys, but I actually already, I thought I already created it, but I didn't. So we're going to go ahead and create it, and we'll do make dir, and I usually put it in my home directory, Autonomous, and I'll sometimes, if I'm running a node and a farmer, I will put them, then I'll create a subdirectory. So cd into the autonomous folder and create a node folder. And later on, when I get to creating a farmer, I'll have a farmer folder as well. But for now, we're just going to move into the node folder. And we need to download the latest version. So actually, we'll jump back over to the browser. We're going to go to the Autonomous subspace GitHub, and we're on the releases page, and we're going to look for the latest release. So it typically has this latest tag here. And we're going to scroll down, and we are on Ubuntu, and I have an x86 64, and it is a Skylake or better CPU. So as you can see, Skylake is either the Intel Skylake architecture or AMD Ryzen, and that typically is anything 2015 or newer. And then for V2, which is like a legacy version, sometimes it's called, it's going to be around 2009 to 2015. And then anything before that, you're going to have to most likely compile the binaries yourself. And you can see there's Windows, Ubuntu, and Mac OS. I'm just going to copy this link here. And then we'll go back into the CLI, And I'm just going to use wget to download this binary. And then what we're going to do is make this executable. So chmod plus x subspace node. And from here, we really can immediately just start running the node. So at its most basic, we'll go back to the wiki here. At the most basic level, this is what you need to include when you deploy your node. So we're going to use run command. Chain is Gemini 3H. Base path, this is going to be where your node data is stored. And then the name, this is for telemetry. So I'll just put like Hake hardware tutorial. And here's an example of one fully set. So we're actually going to copy this, move back over, and we'll paste that in. And we can see that the node fires right up and it's going to start syncing. And you're going to notice that there are going to be a lot of different log files that get posted here. We have one that you're going to see a lot, which is syncing. And there's going to be a blocks per second. Right now it's 0. Our target, that's like the current block height, and best, or that's like the blockchain block height. And that's where we're at right now. So we're at 0. And you're going to see this probably for a good 5-10 minutes, maybe even more. And then you'll probably see a snap, what's called a snap sync. And that is where it just syncs a ton of the blockchain real quick. You'll see it go from 0 to like, we're at 3.7 million for block height. It'll get like pretty close to 3.7 million, if not 3.7 million. And then it'll have to manually like sync a little bit at the end there. So it might seem like it's going to take a long time, but it shouldn't take more than about an hour, assuming you have all the peers uh, and you have your ports forwarded. Uh, right now in 3H, the network's a little spotty because a lot of people have taken their farmers and nodes offline to prepare for mainnet, but I typically can still sync within about an hour. So as you might expect, in this situation, every time you start your computer or you do anything, you're going to need to run this command here, which can get a little bit tedious. So what I like to do is create a shell script. So we'll do nano node.sh, and then we'll paste in this bash script. And we have some variables here that we set. So here's the executable, here's the chain, here's the base path, here's the node name that we're going to be using. And then we just include these all in our run command. And then we just do Control X, Y, Enter to save that, make this executable, and then we should just be able to run our node just like that. So it's a little bit easier to manage, in my opinion, when you do it like this, because you don't have to either like have the command saved as a text file and paste it in. You can literally just run that node, and it's super easy. So overall, I prefer to use the script, and because of how we're running this, if you were to close the terminal, you are actually going to like close the node. So I don't know if I have TMUX installed on here. I do. So you could run it in TMUX. I can't remember. I think it's like TMUX new-s node, and then you could do node node.sh, and then you can do Control B and then the D key, and that detaches from the node. And then you can do tmux attach -t node, and it'll jump right back in. So Control B and then D, that's D for like detach. You're detaching from the terminal, detaching from the session, basically. And then you can do tmux ls, and that'll tell you that you have a node, one session running right here, and that'll tell you, what you need to type in to attach to it. So in this case, I could actually like exit out of here and then jump back into Bob. Sorry, it's bright. TMUX ls, and you can see it's still running. So this is a good way to make sure it stays running, even if you're going to log out, of your SSH session. And then we can always just do tmux attach -t node, and we're right back in. So super easy. This is how I typically do it when I'm running something like this. So we'll just do, again, Control B and then D to exit out of it. And let's see, do we have anything else here? Nope, that's it. So hopefully this was helpful. Running a node is pretty easy, only takes a couple minutes to set up, and hopefully you got yours running. If you have any questions, feel free to post in the I have a link to the Discord on my YouTube channel, or you can leave a comment on the video. If this helped you, please leave a like, and I'll see you in the next one.